Hello everyone, welcome back to Mascot Gardening. It's been a month since we've moved all of our tomatoes into the bigger pots, into our containers outside. And the growth that we have seen, the explosion of fruits and leaves, has been nothing short of amazing. I want to film it today right now. There might be actually some noise from the traffic, but the light is just superb. I'm sitting at a wrong angle because if I move a bit, I'm going to get the sunlight and then my camera is just going to go nuts. So let's take a walk inside the garden. Let's see what's big, what's fruiting, and how does everything look like. I want to take a second before we head out just to show you how it looks. If you remember, my balcony is around, I think, 5 square meters, so it's not necessarily a pretty big place, but everything is just covered in plants now. We have a wall of tomatoes on the left side, and some of them have grown already taller than me. I'm 175. My balcony, I think the height, the ceiling is around 2 meters tall. So it's getting really close to actually getting all the way up to the top. Now, as you can see on the right, we do have some petunias. We've added a few additional flowers, and I'll explain in a second why. All of the strawberries, and you'll get to see them close. But first of all, let's just kick it off with the tomatoes on our left side. Now, if you remember from our previous video, this is what's called the Red Riding Hood. It's Polish variety, and this is the one that's advertised that's going to deliver somewhere between 600 700 cherry tomatoes. Now, there's already quite a few cherries on it, and they have this really beautiful herringbone structure. As you can see, we have already some tomatoes here. We have some tomatoes in the back, and actually there's a few in the bottom as well. Here, this was supposed to be a cherry tomato, so I'm not exactly sure what this is. I think it might have been mislabeled. I'm really curious to taste it once it ripens, so we'll see what actually that is. In the back, I think this is the Bajaja. I still don't know how to pronounce it. I'm trying to get a really good shot of the flowers that we have on Bajaja, but I don't know if you can tell, there's a lot of flowers there, but I'm obviously a lot more excited about the Red Riding Hood. You can tell here a beautiful herringbone is starting to form, and on top another one, and then another one, and there's more flowers yet to come. We also have Mademoiselle Luna coming to visit us. She's a little gardener as well. But before we move on, I want to show you the herb container that we have. So here I'm trying to plant chives, and I'm trying to plant parsley, and as you can see, there's absolutely no chives, and there's some parsley, really small, and this has been just as long as the tomatoes, so for a month now. I don't know what the secret is, but I absolutely have no idea what we're gonna get out of this. I think I would probably say this is a failure at this point. We're probably gonna do something with the parsley, but as you can see, it's not really nothing to brag about, right? We have some mascots, so this seems to be dying. So I think the problem is we overplanted. We knew we're kind of being too ambitious with how many plants we're gonna put. So this one seems to be struggling. It will give us maybe 4 tomatoes before it kind of dies off. The mascot behind it actually has quite a lot more. So I've moved these pots around a bit just to see if we can increase the exposure to sunlight to some of them. But I guess we'll live and see. Now in the middle we have the black cherry. So this is the one that has been growing all the way up to the ceiling, and this is just shocking as well, because as you can see here, this I thought initially is going to be a cluster of flowers, but I think it's just going to be 3 herringbones, one next to each other. So all of this is basically just going to start growing apart, so we're going to get 10-12 tomatoes on each of the sides. And if you want to see how it kind of looks, it looks like this. So eventually all of those flowers are going to turn into something like this, but what's more surprising is that it's 3 of them kind of growing side by side. So that's going to be really interesting to see. Moving on to the 3rd and 4th container, we've added some bamboo sticks just to make sure that they grow where they're supposed to. I haven't tied them yet, so we'll see how that kind of goes. In the middle, Chirolas flowering everywhere. There's actually some small Chirola tomatoes on them as well, so this seems to be going smoothly. These ones are the ones that I thought they're the TTs. So the TTs, the tumbling toms, are supposed to be like a trailing type of tomatoes that grows in a small container. Turns out it's actually it doesn't want to stop growing. So I think it was mislabeled by me. Not exactly sure what it is. I'm kind of thinking it might be a Chirola as well. So we actually have 4 indeterminate plants in this one container. So we'll see exactly how it's going to turn out. At the bottom we have 2 of the bajajas, actually 1 Maliniak, 1 bajaja, and the Mascot on the in the back there. Some of them are flowering, some of them are fruiting. Luna's back. The Mascot in the back there, I think it's kind of hard to film, but there's actually so many tomatoes on that side that is very, very encouraging. Now on the 4th container and the last one where we have all of this indeterminate tomatoes, we actually have a lot of small tomatoes. I guess cherry tomatoes are on all of them, but this is a bushy variety, and I was kind of thinking it's not going to thrive because of lack of direct sunlight, but actually has quite a lot of clusters of cherry tomatoes. Look at that, quite a lot of them actually, and they're growing nicely. One of the things that actually I was surprised about that all of these tomatoes, how much water they need. I'm watering around, I think, 3-4 liters per container every 2 days, and it still ends up not being enough. I have a sensor. I'll probably show it to you in a different video, and I always measure to see if the soil is dry or if the soil is as good as it should be. Now in this 4th container we have what's called a sweet baby. I don't necessarily like sweet tomatoes, but I like how this variety looks like, and it's already flowering. It's already making quite a lot of herringbones. So I'm curious to see if maybe it's gonna change my mind. Maybe the sweet baby tomatoes are gonna be good. And finally on this side, let's just cut it short and go straight to the strawberry, because this is just incredible as well. Look how many strawberries we have. There's quite a lot of them inside as well. There's some of them in the back. It's obviously tricky to film, but it's a lot more than I expected, because at some point the flowers lost their petals, and I thought, well, we didn't have any pollinators. I didn't really pay attention to pollinate them, so I thought they're goners, but it turns out they're not. And the ones on the top, the ones at the bottom, this one's right here, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but these ones are wild strawberries, so that's why they're kind of tinier, let's say, than the variety that you can find in a supermarket, but they're just as tasty, if not tastier. And these ones are just normal strawberries. I cannot get the camera to focus, but I guess you can tell they're normal strawberries. Now we did add a couple of things. I mentioned it in the first video that we only get sun in the evening and in the morning. So in the evening, this side, the sun is obviously in our behind us. This side kind of gets quite a lot of light, and I think this is interesting. I'll show you in a second. We've added some more flowers. This, I think they're called Celonia, something like that. They're quite nice. We got different varieties. So that one is purple. This one right here, I would say it's a yellow orangey. I got it because it reminds me of like coral, a reef type of plant. It looks really interesting actually. Our basil kind of went away, sadly. We still have quite a lot of mint. This is strawberry as well. This one is fruiting, even though it doesn't get as much sunlight as the ones on the top, but it still seems to be doing nicely. At the bottom we used to have 3 carnations. We don't anymore, so we still have one in the middle, but it doesn't seem to be doing that well. And then we introduced this flowers. They're I think they're more autumn variety, so they're gonna stay like that all the way to winter. This is the tomato we got from the shop, so when we bought it, it already had quite a lot of tomatoes on it. It does look like it's dying, but it did produce quite a lot of tomatoes actually, so that's nice. We got some petunias. I'll show you in a second. We've put them on the top, so this is what's remaining, and I think we're gonna move them somewhere else. and mainly because this was the salad, the lettuce. I think we had some mustard seeds. This was the salad experiment. As you can see, this is the failure, as well as the herbs. And I'm starting to think it's because we blocked all the light with the tomatoes that we have. I'll show you how it looks like from above. So because of the heirloom tomatoes that we have, these are not going to grow that tall. They're probably going to grow only maybe 1 meter, and I think they're almost at that height right now. So we have 3 of them, and I think because of this, they're kind of blocking all of the light to the tomato that we had, and also to the lettuce that we hoped we're gonna get. It does look well on camera, but I guess it's not enough for the plants to thrive. And just to show you a few more details about what's happening here. So this is this is a pink variety. The ones that we have on the strawberries is purple. Now the plan is, I'll probably just harvest, if there's anything to harvest from the lettuce. You'll see one there. That one gets actually the most sunlight, but it's still not thriving. So I'm still unclear why, even with sunlight, even with humidity, and obviously wet soil, they don't seem to be doing that well. But what I'll do now, it's a bit of a shame because we have so much, I guess, real estate for these plants that is not going to be used anymore. But what I will do is basically stack all of these containers, this 3 black ones that we have, and then maybe rearrange a bit. And that means we're going to try and get some more sunlight to all of the flowers that we have in the herb shelves, and then we'll see. Maybe it's gonna look better. I'm definitely not gonna plant any more tomatoes, and I think this is one of the lessons for next year, that if you add a lot of bushy varieties, expect the sunlight to kind of get blocked. It's great for us, it's great for Luna. As you can see, she loves the shade, especially on a day like today when it's super warm. But everything behind it, it just is gonna struggle a bit. So this is what it looks like. We're 1 month into our experiment. I think it looks amazing. I'm actually shocked by some of this indeterminate varieties. I've never imagined you can grow indeterminate varieties on a balcony, but here we are, and they actually seem to be doing they seem to be enjoying this more than probably any of the other tomatoes that we have. So this, I guess, is lesson number 2. If you want to grow some indeterminate tomatoes on a balcony, go right ahead. Maybe not as many, maybe plant it. Don't get greedy as we did, planting a lot of them. But I think overall it kind of looks gorgeous. I think with the yuccas in the back, with some of the petunias, you can see here some more in the back, and then obviously the couch, and then look at this evening sun. It looks amazing. Time for some mojitos and using the mint that we have. All right, everyone, that was the tour, the 1 month tour into this experiment. We're very close, maybe like 2 weeks away of starting to harvest some of these tomatoes that we have, and I think it's just gonna be incredible seeing what happens until the end. Thank you very much again for spending the time and watching the video together with us, and I'll see you next week, I hope.